So let's talk about the show and where you guys are going to pick up, because you left off on a really big cliffhanger with Ross.
Yes. A literal cliffhanger.
Yes.
Yeah, on a cliff.
Ross getting arrested on a cliff, yes.
Yeah.
So where does season 2 pick up then?
It picks up on the cliff, literally, where he gets dragged off by soldiers. And Demelza is left on the cliff, just wondering what's going to happen. And then we go into his big trial.
How does Elizabeth feel? Because a piece of her heart still does belong to Ross.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and it always will, and I think that's obvious. She's very worried, and I think at the beginning of the second season you realize that she's starting to realize that if she wants something done, she has to do it herself, and so she kind of takes matters into her own hands, and you start seeing a little bit more of a manipulative side or a go-getting side of her.
What is George like this season? I feel like he's starting to become even more of a villain. Like he was almost he was okay in season 1.
Wasn't he?
He did a few bad things, but this season I'm really afraid. Yeah.
You should be.
Okay.
I think you should be. He's very Machiavellian. It's getting serious. I mean, bless him. I think he really did try and be friends with Ross or try to make Ross see that they weren't so different, but Ross won't have any of it. So I think that's sort of, they close that door of like an opportunity of being friends, and that's kind of driven George into a completely different direction.
What is Elizabeth and Demelza's relationship like this season?
It's kind of distant. Obviously, there's a huge sort of there's huge tension because of, them losing their child, and this kind of a little bit of a blame game goes on, kind of, unsaid. Mm-hmm. So it's very distant, and I think Demelza becomes more and more wary of Elizabeth and decides that she doesn't really trust her. And when Elizabeth starts to sense that, it creates this tension, which is, it's fun. It's fun to play.
How about scenes with Verity? Do you have any, Elizabeth?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, they're very good friends. I mean, Verity's friends with everyone. Everyone loves Verity.
Her brother, right now.
Oh, yes, except for she wants to be, but he doesn't want to be friends. He doesn't want to be anything with her at the moment. But yes, she comes back, and she has. Yeah, a lovely relationship with Elizabeth.
What is it about the show that you think people are relating to, and like why it's just found such a big fan base?
Well, I think it's beautiful scenery, and the costumes are to die for. So it's very much like being in a fairy tale, and it's the kind of age-old love story. Lost love, new love. And also a story of the underdog, which I think that people always root for. So I just think it's a classic tale,